The champagne flutes clinked together in the penthouse overlooking Central Park, but Olivia Chen barely heard the toast. Her mind was still reeling from what her new husband had said just moments before they'd entered the reception. "Donate all your money," Marcus had whispered in the hallway outside the ballroom. "Every last dollar." She'd laughed, thinking it was a joke. But his face had been serious, his gray eyes unwavering. Now, as 200 guests celebrated around them, Olivia couldn't shake the cold feeling settling in her stomach. She'd married Marcus Hayes 3 hours ago, a high school teacher who lived in a rent-controlled apartment in Queens and drove a 15-year-old Honda. Her family had been horrified, but Olivia had been certain. Marcus was different from the wealthy, entitled men she'd grown up around. He'd never once asked about her money or her family's pharmaceutical empire. He'd fallen in love with her, not her bank account. Or so she'd thought. "You look beautiful, Mrs. Hayes," Marcus said, his hand warm on her lower back. His tuxedo was rented, probably the most expensive outfit he'd ever worn. She'd offered to buy him one, but he'd refused, just as he'd refused every gift during their courtship. She'd found it endearing then. Now she wasn't sure. "We need to talk," Olivia said quietly. "After the reception." Marcus nodded, but there was something in his expression she couldn't read. The party continued around them, a blur of congratulations and champagne. But all she could think about was Marcus's words. At midnight, they finally escaped to the bridal suite. The moment the door closed, Olivia turned to face her husband. "What did you mean?" she asked. "About donating my money?" Marcus sat down heavily on the bed. "I meant exactly what I said. I want you to donate all your money. Your inheritance, your trust fund, everything." Olivia felt like she'd been slapped. "Why would you ask me to do that?" He looked up at her with pain in his eyes. "Because I can't be the poor husband of a billionaire heiress. I can't wake up every day knowing everything around me comes from money I didn't earn. Money made by a company that's been sued 17 times for price gouging on medications people need to survive." She stepped back. "You knew about my family's company when you met me." Marcus stood up, running his hands through his hair. "I thought I could handle it. But every day I teach kids whose families can't afford the insulin your company manufactures. I see parents making impossible choices between medication and rent." His voice cracked. "I love you. God, I love you so much. But I can't be complicit in that system." Olivia felt tears burning her eyes. "So you want me to give it all away? Just like that?" He moved closer. "I'm asking you to be who I know you are. The woman who volunteers at the free clinic every Saturday. The woman who told me she wished she could change the system from the inside." He took her hands. "I'm not asking you to give it away to punish yourself. I'm asking you to use it to fix what's broken." Olivia pulled her hands away, anger flaring. "You had this planned. You manipulated me." Marcus's face paled. "No, I married you because I love you. But I've been wrestling with this for months. Tonight, watching all that excess while people are dying because they can't afford medication, I couldn't keep silent anymore." He moved to the window, staring out at the city. "My sister died when I was 16. Did I ever tell you that?" Olivia shook her head, her anger momentarily forgotten. "She had type 1 diabetes. We couldn't afford her insulin. We tried to ration it, but one night she went into diabetic ketoacidosis." His voice was flat. "She was 14 years old." Olivia sank into the chair. "Marcus, I didn't know. I'm so sorry." He turned to look at her, tears streaming down his face. "The insulin that could have saved her costs about $5 to manufacture. Your family's company sells it for $300 a vial. Emily needed 4 vials a month. We couldn't afford it, even with insurance. So she died." The silence was deafening. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" Marcus wiped his eyes. "Because I was afraid you'd think I was using you. But I didn't even know who you were when we met. That day at the bookstore, you were just a beautiful woman reaching for the same poetry collection. It wasn't until our 3rd date that I made the connection." He laughed bitterly. "I almost walked away. But I was already falling in love with you." Olivia stood up. "So what do you want? You want me to bankrupt myself to assuage your guilt?" Her voice was sharp. "I've spent my entire life being told that my money defines me, that I'm not really a person, just an heiress. And now you're telling me the same thing." Marcus shook his head. "I'm telling you that you have a choice. You can be part of the problem or part of the solution. Yes, I want you to donate your personal wealth. But more than that, I want you to use your position in the company to change how it operates. Lower the prices. Make medication accessible. Actually save lives instead of maximizing profits. Olivia turned away. 8 months ago, she'd been engaged to Preston Whitmore III, a man her parents approved of. Safe, predictable, boring. She'd broken it off after meeting Marcus, drawn to his passion and integrity. But now she wondered if she'd just traded one form of control for another. If I do this, she said slowly, what happens to us? Do you love me, Marcus? Or do you love what you want me to become? She heard him move behind her. I love you, Olivia Chen. The woman who quotes Mary Oliver while making terrible coffee. The woman who spent 4 hours helping one of my students write a college essay. He turned her to face him. But I also can't ignore the reality of where your wealth comes from. I've tried for 8 months to reconcile loving you with hating what your family's company represents, and I can't do it anymore. She searched his eyes for manipulation, for hidden motives, but all she saw was pain and love and desperate honesty. You're asking me to choose between you and my family. Marcus shook his head. I'm asking you to choose between complicity and action. Your family will still be your family, but you'll be living according to your own values, not theirs. She paced the suite. On the dresser sat her bouquet, probably costing more than Marcus made in a month. On the nightstand was champagne worth more than his rent. The disparity was everywhere, inescapable. I need time, she said finally. You're asking me to dismantle my entire life. I can't make that decision in one night. He nodded. I understand. But I need you to understand something too. I can't live off your money. If we're going to make this marriage work, it has to be on equal footing, and as long as you're a billionaire and I'm a teacher making $48,000 a year, we'll never be equals. Anger flared again. So you want me to be poor? To struggle the way you have? Marcus's face hardened. I want you to understand that wealth built on human suffering is not wealth worth having. I want you to use your privilege for good instead of hiding behind it. He grabbed his jacket. I'm going to sleep at my apartment tonight. You think about what I've said. Olivia watched in disbelief. You're leaving? On our wedding night? He paused at the door. I'm leaving because if I stay, we're going to say things we can't take back. He looked back at her, his eyes red. But Olivia, if you choose to keep living the way you have been, I can't be part of your life. I won't divorce you because I meant my vows, but I can't share your bed or your life if it's built on the foundation that killed my sister. Then he was gone, and Olivia was alone in the bridal suite, still wearing her $20,000 wedding dress. She sank onto the bed. Was Marcus right? Was her wealth built on suffering? She'd always known her family's company prioritized profits over people, but she'd told herself it was complicated, that pharmaceutical development was expensive. But those were excuses, weren't they? She walked to the window, looking out at Manhattan. Somewhere in that vast city, people were making impossible choices. Rent or medication, food or insulin, life or debt. And she had the power to change that. Not just by donating her wealth, but by using her position in the company. Her father was grooming her to take over. She had a seat on the board. What if she actually fought for change from the inside? Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. I love you. Whatever you decide, that won't change. But I need to be able to live with myself. I hope you'll choose to do the same. Olivia opened her laptop and started researching. How much did insulin really cost to manufacture? What were the profit margins? She read for hours, uncovering a web of lobbying and legislation and corporate greed that made her stomach turn. As dawn broke over Manhattan, Olivia Chen made her decision. She called her lawyer first. I want to set up a foundation. I'm transferring my personal wealth into it. Everything except enough to live modestly. The foundation's mission will be providing free medication to people who can't afford it. Next, she called her father. That conversation was harder. He was furious. You're throwing your life away for that man, he said. Olivia took a deep breath. No, Dad. This is what happens when you marry someone who actually has principles. I'm also calling an emergency board meeting. I'm proposing a complete overhaul of our pricing structure. The silence was deafening. Then her father's voice, tight with anger. You'll be outvoted. You'll accomplish nothing except making yourself look like a naive child." She smiled. "Maybe. But at least I'll be able to sleep at night." After she hung up, Olivia stripped off her wedding dress and put on jeans and a sweater. She took the subway to Queens. She'd never been to Marcus's apartment before. She found him at a community center in a church basement, teaching reading to adults. When he looked up and saw her, his face went pale. She waited until his session ended, then walked over to him. "I called my lawyer this morning," she said. "I'm setting up a foundation. I'm donating everything except enough to live on. I'm also calling an emergency board meeting to propose changing our pricing structure." Marcus stared at her. "Olivia, you don't have to do this. Not because of me." She shook her head. "I'm not doing it because of you. I'm doing it because it's right. Because you helped me see something I'd been avoiding my whole life." She took his hands. "I'm terrified. My family is going to hate me. I'm probably going to fail at changing the company. But I have to try." Marcus pulled her into his arms, and she felt him shaking. "Thank you for being brave enough to choose this." She pulled back. "I need you to understand something, though. This isn't just me becoming who you want me to be. This is me figuring out who I actually am. And that process is going to be messy and hard." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I know. And I'll be right there with you." Olivia smiled. "Good. Because I'm going to need a place to live. Apparently, I'm donating my penthouse to a homeless shelter." Marcus laughed. "You can move in with me. Fair warning though, my apartment is 400 square feet and the shower barely works." She kissed him. "Sounds perfect." 6 months later, Olivia stood before the board of directors, presenting a plan to restructure their pricing model. Her father sat at the head of the table, his face impassive. Most board members looked skeptical or hostile. But 3 younger members were listening intently. She didn't have the votes today, but she'd keep trying. After the meeting, she took the subway home to Queens, to the tiny apartment she now shared with Marcus. It was cramped, and the neighbors were loud, and sometimes the heat didn't work. But when she walked in and saw Marcus at the stove making dinner, she felt something she'd never felt in her penthouse. She felt home. "How'd it go?" he asked, pulling her into a hug. "They voted it down, but I'm not giving up." Marcus kissed the top of her head. "I know you're not. You're the most stubborn person I've ever met." She laughed. "I learned from the best." They ate dinner on their second-hand couch, talking about their days. Marcus had gotten funding for a new after-school program. Olivia's foundation had helped 50 families afford their medications this month. Small victories, but they mattered. Later, lying in bed, Marcus asked quietly, "Do you regret it? Giving up your old life?" Olivia thought about it. She missed some things. The comfort, the ease, the security. But she didn't miss the emptiness, the sense that her life didn't matter. "No," she said. "I don't regret it. This is harder, but it's real. I'm actually doing something that matters." Marcus pulled her closer. "You're amazing." She smiled in the darkness. "I'm just trying to be worthy of the man I married." He was quiet for a moment. "When I asked you to donate your money, I was so afraid you'd say no." Olivia propped herself up. "And if I had? What would you have done?" Marcus met her eyes. "I would have kept my word. I would have stayed married to you, but I couldn't have lived with you. It would have broken my heart, but I couldn't have compromised on that." She nodded slowly. "I'm glad I chose this then. Glad I chose us." As she drifted off to sleep, Olivia thought about the woman she'd been a year ago. Engaged to the wrong man, living a hollow life, afraid to question anything. That woman seemed like a stranger now. And it had all started with 4 words from the man she loved. "Donate all your money." It had sounded like a demand, a test, a manipulation. But it had actually been an invitation. An invitation to become who she was always meant to be. Someone who used her privilege for good. Someone who fought for change. Someone who chose conviction over comfort. And every day she chose that path again. Not because Marcus asked her to, but because she couldn't imagine living any other way.